So in previous talks, I explained about water storage and its significance, its supreme importance to prep supply, and how much you should store this water, and how much people need every day to be drinking, accessible. So in this talk, we're going to get into water filtration. So there are, to summarize, so many different variations, I should say, of water storage. And these are all just of different uses and practical purposes. So all of us are familiar with cases of bottled water. I would say this is the first level of water storage, is getting bottled water. The next level up from that for storage purposes are storing single gallons of water, which may also come in cases too. And then the next level up from that for even longer storage are the 5-gallon bottles of water. And these are all filled up purified water bottles. And these 5-gallon bottles are found everywhere. These are the ones that you see in commercial settings, in offices, at the oil change place. Some people have them at home or in schools. They're these big, heavy cylinders. So these are great for storing, and these are the kinds that start to come in also an empty form as well, if you want to just fill it up yourself. You can also get similar things like aquatainers, which are more square looking. And then the next level up from that for longer term storage are 25, 30, and 55-gallon tanks. And this is the point where these bins are coming empty because they're so big. Once you fill them up, they weigh hundreds of pounds. So it doesn't make sense selling them like that. So the way you fill up these kinds of ultra long-term water stores is you just simply fill them up with tap water. And however, you don't use a garden hose. You have to use a white RV or marine drinking water hose. And that's, of course, food grade, because a garden hose isn't the best thing to use. It has plastics inside, and it even has some lead too. So it's going to have some contaminants, not going to be very clean. And then you put some bleach in, the appropriate amount. And what's even better than putting bleach is actually just opting out for an Aquamira or a water preserver concentrate. And I believe these are specific brands actually of water preservers. That's what you want to put in. And after that point, filtering is generally optional. You can just drink tap water, right? It's mostly pure. But however, these days, and for a while, since last year or so, there's been a rising concern in the quality of water. We're still finding heavy metals because of old cities that are using lead pipes and copper pipes with lead in them. And scientists are also finding that not only is the water quality not up to par a lot of the time, but there are these things called PFASs, which stand for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or forever chemicals. And so these are not good for you. Certain bad chemicals, you just obviously, if they're in you, you don't want them in forever. And these things are take, I guess, hundreds of years to dissolve, basically, which is beyond our lifespans. And then there's this rising concern of microplastics, these tiny little plastics found in water supply and other things. And you don't want tiny pieces of plastic filling your bloodstream. That's just a horrendous idea. So, and getting stuck in your organs and stuff like that, and clogging your system. And so this is also a recent finding, and most sand and chlorine filters can't always catch this. So this is a big problem. And when you're filtering, you can also use a lead and heavy metal test kit, which is not too expensive. And it's a good way to just be sure that what you're drinking is good. So it used to be acceptable to drink tap water in your, even after 6 months or a year in these water stores because of the water preparer. But nowadays it's highly recommended to filter your water before drinking it. Because, that water still contains chlorine, fluoride, in the US at least, heavy metals, forever chemicals now, and microplastics. And so one way you can filter is to use a Brita pitcher filter with activated carbon. And it filters chlorine, activates, fluoride as well. But only some of them are certified to remove lead. And the companies, or the products that do this, are Zero Water and Brita Elite. So the next option, which is the best option for survival water, is using a gravity filter, because this will get rid of bacteria and parasites, dirt, and chlorine. And certain brands, I guess, or are these, I'm not sure if these are products or brands. I think they're brands like Berkey or Sawyer also remove some heavy metals, and whilst retaining some dissolved minerals like calcium and magnesium. So I'll get into how to do this in a second. There's a third option too, which is reverse osmosis, but I don't recommend it for survival water because it's inefficient and it produces wastewater. Because reverse osmosis will get rid of everything. It is the supreme way of purifying water. It removes heavy metals, fluoride, and even chemicals like arsenic and nitrates, and even some viruses too, both through a physical and possibly a chemical reaction or means too. But it also gets rid of minerals, so this creates a very flat, dead water, and you need to remineralize it with, I guess, salt and some other things. So this is more of a luxury, and you only use this for daily drinking water because it's in smaller amounts and you want really good water all the time. It's not survival water. It's not bare minimum quality water, right? So as for how to filter these huge buckets or gallons of or containers of water, with this gravity filter, one thing you can do is just to get, probably what you want to get actually are 2 smaller 5-gallon containers, because you want, a gallon per person. And if you're in a family, you'll need more than a gallon per person per day. So you can get something like a 5-gallon, or if you're single, just by yourself, a 1-gallon container. And actually you get 2 of these of equal sizes. Ideally you want them to be stackable. And the first, I should say the top layer, the top stack tank, that will have 2 gravity filters in it, installed on the top, or rather installed on the bottom of the container. And then what you do is you stack this bucket on top of the other 1 or 5-gallon bucket, and you have a couple holes that are protruding, or revealing this water from underneath these filters, and they're dripping into this second bucket underneath the top one. And so the second one on the bottom is for direct access, and that will have a spigot somewhere. You could have a spigot near actually you'd want the spigot near the bottom, installed on the bottom, because the water gets lower and lower, so you want to be able to access it until it hits the bottom, right? And then that's your setup. You can just put it on the side of a table or some kind of flat platform, so that you have a way of keeping the spigot overhanging somewhere so that you can bring a glass, like a tall glass or a bottle, right underneath the spigot without the bottom of that bottle bumping into the ground or something. So you can't have it on the ground. You got to put it on a platform hanging over it so the spigot has got some room. And by using these two particular gravity filters, this will yield 2,000 gallons of water in total. So you can filter that many gallons of water before you need to change the filter. So this is an excellent option. So you can use, those 5-gallon buckets because they're typically stackable. And all you have to do is drill a couple holes in and have these water filters together, a couple water filters over top of the holes. You want to make sure you have enough room so that because these filters are a few inches wide in diameter. So you gotta keep them side by side. And of course the holes need to be in the appropriate diameter too, or the appropriate space away from each other. Otherwise, if you drill a couple holes together, well, you're not going to be able to fit these big filters over top of both of them because they're together. So you got to separate them, right? And then all you have to do for any kind of water storage is all of your water for survival should be stored in a cool, dry place. And if you're in a warmer part of the country, particularly if you're in the US and it's warmer than or any other part of the world, you'll need to store this somewhere else, right? Like underground or in a cooled, or rather temperature controlled self-storage unit, like a paid storage place. Yeah, but if you're in a colder climate, you're in somewhere in like Northern Europe or even parts of Japan or in Canada, just anywhere away from the equator, then it's fine just to keep most of this water in your garage for most of the year because it's cool most of the time. Maybe not, in the summertime, if you have a small amount, you might have to actually move it every summer if it gets too warm or hot in there. Or you'd have to temperature control it, seal it, keep an air conditioner during the summer, that kind of thing. So of course, the more filters you use, the more water you can drink. So you don't necessarily need 2 filters, but it really depends on your purposes, right? It depends how many thousands of gallons of water you want to be able to drink or rather filter before changing. So a lot of these filters, these are pretty major filters. They'll be a few inches in diameter. So one particular brand and model is the Serve filter. And Serve filters can come in, of course, those portable, kind of drinking straw and canister variants that you take with you when you're hiking or you're in a bug out situation. And I've mentioned this in a previous talk. But Serve filters also make the kinds that are meant for gravity feeding. So that's the one you want to go for in this purpose.